back in now. I should tweet. That would be useful.
Oh, yeah. Tweet it, bro.
Keep forgetting which mouse is which. Hello, everyone who's watching us live. Whether you're watching us live or whether you're watching us in the future, hello and welcome to Awesome Hardware. This is a technology live show, which we broadcast simultaneously to Twitch and YouTube. And usually we do the show on Tuesday evenings at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. However, today we're doing the show on Wednesday, and we started at like noon or like 12:30. Why did we do that, Kyle?
Because we're going to Computex, Paul. Well,
Yes.
first off, you're going to Computex in like a couple hours, and then, or you're going to fly to Taiwan in a couple hours, and then, wow, I sound really drunk right now. I just got that like into lazy mode. Okay, so you're getting on a plane to Taiwan in a couple hours.
Yep.
And I just got back from Hawaii from a family vacation last night.
That's true.
So this really made the most sense for both of us.
So we were
Hopefully that's
endeavoring to not let you guys go too long without a live show. We didn't want to go like a month in between, so that's why we did sort of a weird off episode here on Wednesday. But it's cool. We're still drinking some beer. It's still, even though it's midday, and we've been having a good time.
No
we just
judgment.
finished Kyle's half, so if you didn't catch that, you can check that out via the link in the description.
Indeed.
We talked about stuff. It was good.
It was good.
We did some what did we do? I forget.
We did Pimp My PC.
We did Pimp My PC. We did
Defund or Not
Defund,
Defund.
Talked about some tech news.
Yep.
Really quick at the beginning of the show. Oh, you know what I forgot? Hold on. I want to talk about your giveaway.
What have you done? Of course.
Yeah, because I forgot to bring that up.
Oh,
if you guys aren't aware, Kyle is giving away a computer.
Hey.
Strategically. It's a very strategic giveaway.
Yes.
We'll
Coincides right with Scrapyard
With a
Wars.
bunch of Scrapyard Wars. That was not at all a coincidence. Anyway, Kyle is giving away like a $2,000 system, though, so check that out over on his channel.
It's crazy.
The link is not in my description right now. I'll see if I can put it in there, but if not, it's in his description. $2,000 system. Enter to win. Is it international?
Yes.
It's international. It's going to be awesome. So do that.
Yes.
In the meantime, if you guys would like to help support us, the things we do even further, buy stuff on our stores. Kyle's store is bit.ly/store. Shirts, mugs, pint glasses, hoodies, all very high quality gear. And also you can order stuff from my store. If you order during the show, we'll give you guys a big old shout out towards the end.
Yeah.
And my store is at paulshardware.net. Also shirts. I've got some ladies shirts. I got some decals, got some beanies, polo shirts, as well as, of course, the lovely glasses we're drinking out of. Imperial pint glasses. They're super great. All right. That's how we begin the show. Oh, wait, no. That's kind of how we begin the show.
We're drinking more beer, too. I've moved on to a Lagunitas Little Something. This is
Cool.
some of the beer that we picked up the other week for previous show. I think Paul's still working on the Great White.
Working on the Great White from
Lost
Lost Coast.
Both good options.
So cheers.
Cheers to you guys.
Thanks
If
you guys for being here.
Happy to be drinking of legal drinking age, then it's a pleasure drinking with you.
And always responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
Midday on Wednesday.
Midday responsibility.
That's right.
Yep.
As I sorry,
It's like you're at an airport.
right as I said that, I pulled up our stream from like 30 seconds ago. And
Just
it's me
like,
like holding one beer as I finished the other. It was
Drinking
it's just bad timing.
responsibly. Yeah.
It's okay. All right.
And that's the one thing that you can look forward to tonight is you'll be at an airport where there's no judgment of drinking at any time
That's
of the
true.
day.
It
You can drink
appears
it any time.
anyone can drink at an airport.
Socially acceptable.
It's
100%.
really weird.
That's very strange.
Yeah, I was leaving from Ontario like a few weeks ago, and it was like 9 a.m. and I walked through and there's the bar there. Like, there's like 4 people sitting at the bar.
Yep.
9 a.m.
No judgment whatsoever.
But hey,
No one bats an eye.
It's normal.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna get right back into some tech news because there's certainly plenty of it going around.
Yes.
Thanks, not in a little part due to the fact that Computex is this coming week, so lots of tech launches happen at Computex. All right. Cell, thanks for moderating today, and he's pointing out that I have to
Yay,
get on a
Cell.
plane, so that's my excuse. Kyle's excuse was that he was on vacation last week.
I was.
That's an excuse, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
More or less. I was forced to go to Hawaii and enjoy the tropics.
About a week ago, actually on Tuesday last week, and we didn't do the show last week, so we haven't talked about it much, AMD announced Ryzen Threadripper. Threadripper. They actually announced Threadripper as well as Epyc. These are going to be what appears to be an enthusiast class chip on a new socket designed to compete with Intel's high-end desktop offerings, X99 or potentially the upcoming X299 that's rumored. And Epyc appears to be a up to 64 core, 128 thread CPU, like with it's just crazy. It's crazy the amount of cores and stuff they got going on, and that's going to compete with Intel's high-end Xeon stuff.
Right.
But as the inimitable Gordon Ung points out here, the executive editor at PC World, there really is a very minimal amount of information that we actually know for sure. What we actually know for sure about Threadripper is that there is a Threadripper CPU. It has 16 cores and 32 threads, and it releases in the summer of 2017. That's all that AMD has confirmed. So beyond that, anything else you hear is rumor or speculation. So just want to point that out right out of the gate as we talk about this stuff.
We know nothing.
So, but of course there is rumor and speculation, so we're still going to mention some of that stuff. But first off, R9, we have Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5, and Ryzen 9. Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5, and Ryzen 7 confirmed by AMD. There's discussion that they're going to be a Ryzen 9 in this high-end desktop platform that they're talking about. AMD did not mention the number 9 at all. It was not said. So it could still be classified as a Ryzen 9. We're not sure, but AMD hasn't said that. All they've called it is AMD Ryzen Threadripper, which is kind of a funny sounding name, actually.
Makes me think of like a fart ripper.
Yeah, like bending over with pants that are too tight.
And then your threads just rip.
And then that's the Threadripper.
But maybe that was the intent.
That's what they want. It's got too much power in it, so it's bursting at the seams.
Blows through your pants.
I don't know. It's like a
really in my pants.
Like a fart you've been hanging on to for 2 months and eating nothing but Mexican food
after a fiesta.
I don't know. That's obviously what they're aiming for with this. So no 9 is mentioned. Now, other rumors have included an increased memory bandwidth capability by way of a quad-channel controller, which could be very interesting considering how much effect memory speed has had on existing Ryzen performance for the desktop processors that are already out. That could be a very interesting thing to exist. There's also speculation that not just a 16-core 32-thread part would make sense, but also potentially a 14-core or 12-core or 10-core part would also make a lot of sense. But again, that's a rumor.
Different price points.
More rumors. All versions of the Ryzen 9 would feature 44 PCI Express lanes.
Wow.
That could be interesting.
That'd be nice.
That's also the rumored number of PCI Express lanes that that X299 Intel Skylake X, Kaby Lake X, well, Skylake X, I think, would have.
Yeah.
So it would be competitive there, but we don't know that for sure. Quad channel RAM support, of course. Yeah. We already said quad channel RAM. Sorry. 2 chipsets, X390 and X399. That would make some sense, I guess, from a branding perspective. And then also the socket, which is socket SP3, which would be a 4094-pin socket. So really massive socket, and potentially LGA. So who knows? Model numbers they're talking about would be in the 1900 series. So like right now we have 1800X, it's the highest end Ryzen 7 CPU. So you have 1900X or thereabouts. The 10-core, again, they're speculating would be a Ryzen 9 1955, and the top-end 16-core would be the Ryzen 9 1998X. 1998, see, that's an interesting number.
Because now you're getting close to, like, actual years that we've lived through. And
like
now you're like, is that a retro chip?
Yeah.
Like, does it come with, like, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon?
Back in 98, I'm not even going to talk about 98 right now.
Does it come with the, I don't know.
Anyway.
Kung Fury DVD included? I don't know.
That would be sweet. See, they should team up with
1990X RoboCop edition.
Great branding. Also, rumor mills put the thermals at 155 watt TDP for the top end part and 125 watt TDP down at the bottom for, say, a 10 core. 125 watt TDP for a 10-core chip.
Damn.
That sounds perfectly fine by me. Heck, 155 watt TDP for a 16-core 32-thread chip. Also sounds pretty awesome to me.
Yeah.
So again, guys, there's tons of stuff just kind of bouncing around right here in the rumor sphere. So take it all with a grain of salt, but I'm sure some of it at least might be more geared towards what might actually happen. And then, of course, there are rumors going around right now about what Threadripper might go up against. Talked about this a bit on Kyle's half of the show, but X299 potentially is the chipset that Intel might be launching to go along with their new, potentially Core i9. Again, all this stuff is really, really not sure yet. So hopefully we'll be able to bring you guys some more confirmation in the next week or so as we visit Computex in person and get you guys the story from on the ground and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, over on the server side, AMD has officially given a brand name to their what has previously been codenamed Naples, which is the server iteration of the processors that use their Zen microarchitecture, which Zen is used in Ryzen processors on the consumer side right now. So on the server side, you'll have AMD Epyc, EPYC is how it's spelled.
They like replacing vowels with Y's.
Yeah.
Ryzen, Epic.
But here we have
Seeing a trend.
This was actually at AMD's Financial Analyst Day, and here we have Lisa Su actually holding up an AMD Epyc chip. You'll notice it's huge.
Yeah. 4 fingers, good 4 fingers across.
Yeah.
Put your 4 fingers out. It's pretty wide.
So here's where there's a lot of speculation as to like, is Epyc gonna use the same socket that Threadripper uses? That high-end desktop platform, is it going to be similar to that? This does look like an LGA chip, not a PGA chip.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, I do not know if there's any pictures of the other side of that from the events. I haven't had enough time to really dig in and see if there's any further than that. But what AMD did announce and confirm for sure at their Financial Analyst Day is, well, first, they're very much targeting the Xeon lineup that Intel currently has, because Intel currently dominates the server market. But this chip would have up to 128 PCI Express 3.0 lanes, which is absolutely insane. The chips would scale all the way up to the 32-core 64-thread chip that Lisa's holding right here, and would support 8-channel DDR4 memory with up to 16 DIMMs per CPU, allowing up to 4 terabytes of total memory per socket, which is pretty impressive. Infinity Fabric is what AMD is going to be using to tie all of these together. Infinity Fabric is already in place in the Ryzen chips. They're going to use Infinity Fabric to communicate between Vega GPUs and the CPUs, and they're also going to use it to communicate between different CPUs in a multi-socket environment like you'd have in a enterprise configuration. So that's cool. This is rumor, so just again trying to distinguish what is announced versus what's rumored, but it's rumored to scale from as little as 30 gigabytes per second up to 512 gigabytes per second as far as the Infinity Fabric communication between chips, which is absolutely insane. What would be necessary if you wanted to maintain scalability while you're just adding more and more cores via adding more and more processors. So that's kind of exciting to see what actual performance they're able to get out of that. And of course, like we already mentioned, they're developing their GPUs along with this AI acceleration as well as machine learning. They're trying to help to develop both of these in tandem with each other, so that the CPU side and the GPU side can both work together in mixed workload environments to maximize just the raw computing performance you can get. And I imagine scalability is, of course, huge in there. That's really what they talk about with this, is they want to be able to just pile stuff on, which really makes sense when you take what they did with Ryzen and the different SMT units that make up a Ryzen processor, and just sort of building that out as they add more and more on there. All right. Also also discussed, I guess, a little bit at this event is their roadmap, and we briefly discussed this on Kyle's half, which is that right now they have Zen in 2017, which is based on 14 nanometer architecture, and they've talked about 14 nanometer plus architecture, a refinement of 14 nanometer. Zen 2, they're saying, is going to be based on 7 nanometer architecture, and Zen 3 is going to be based on a refinement of that. They're targeting these for 2018 through 2020. So AMD's definitely not letting up when it comes to their development of CPUs, at least on the CPU side is what this is mainly discussing, which is good news for all of us who have been excited to see a lot more competition in that space in the past few months. Cool.
Yes.
I'm excited about that on the server
agree.
side, actually, because, I don't know, servers just have that sort of raw power feel to them. So I'm curious to see if AMD's got anything going on a supercomputer like sense, right? Because I feel like that's kind of the crowning achievement of a lot of the hardware developers. Like NVIDIA is super proud. I mean, like they name all of their Titan graphics cards after the Titan supercomputer that's based on their architecture. So it'd be interesting to see if AMD has anything like that in the works. Honestly, that's something that just popped into my head right now. I have no basis for that.
Epyc would be a pretty good name for a supercomputer.
Yeah, I mean, if it really scales like they're talking about, and if the Infinity Fabric is really able to help all of those different, raw computing elements work together, then it seems like there's a lot of potential there.
So does this mean Epyc is also going to see a pretty decent boost from higher memory speeds? Probably, right? If it's going to work the same way.
Infinity Fabric on the Ryzen side, it runs at the same frequency as whatever memory frequency you set. So I'm not sure what going from dual channel to quad channel would affect with something like that.
Right.
But certainly being able to run higher memory frequencies seems to really be the bread and butter of getting more performance out of that platform. So, I mean, as they refine the process and as they come out with newer chips, they should theoretically be able to support higher memory frequencies.
Right.
Which should theoretically
improve performance, I would
scale Infinity Fabric up to improve how everything works as a hive mind.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Be interesting, like we could see maybe for once memory speeds could affect like render times for video editing and things like that with Infinity Fabric. Whereas before it's not, it's more of the capacity of memory that's been more important than the actual frequency. But Infinity Fabric could potentially change some of that.
Which I'm totally fine with. I mean,
me too.
It adds another way to potentially upgrade the performance of your system over time.
Yeah.
And what's easier than swapping out a memory kit? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's nice to be able to tell people, you can build your system right now, get a budget memory kit, 2400 speed or something like that, and then a few months down the line you can upgrade it or something, or wait for AMD to release a new a GISA or whatever microcode for the chip, and then you can actually run with higher speed memory, and then you can upgrade down the line.
Right.
So I think all that's good.
People in chat, the noise in the background, that's probably Hero snoring.
Yeah, it's either Hero snoring, because he's right down here, or if there's a low rumbling sound, it's a train.
Or it's a train.
Which could be running by. All right, now let's move on to Vega.
Vega.
Right? Yes, Vega. All right, so again, a lot of you guys have probably already seen some of this stuff because it did come out about a week ago. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. This is Vega. Because it came out about a week ago, but it's very important information and stuff, so of course we need to discuss it briefly. This is a PC World article by Brad Sharkus. Was that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. So we have a little bit more information about Vega, specifically in the demonstration of the Founders Edition Vega card, Frontier Edition Vega cards. I almost called it Founders Edition. How silly of me!
They're just getting so close with
to
all
make
the marketing.
That mistake.
They're so. They've run out of ideas. Clearly. Frontier Edition. That sounds.
Frontier Edition.
That sounds like a place in Disneyland, like Frontierland.
It does. Frontierland.
Right?
Yeah.
Frontierland.
Okay.
Is that a thing?
So here's the card demo they showed, and I'm totally down with this. This is fine with me. It's a completely different color scheme than you typically see.
Blue and gold?
In a PC. It's blue and gold.
Ew.
It's got this little LED thing on the corner. I know it's not going to match with a huge number of existing PC parts, but it's a little bit different. And I don't mind the look with the brushed metal and the sort of inverse blue and gold with the Vega and Radeon logo. I think it's okay. So here's the full gold version with the included closed loop water cooling for it.
It's just weird to see a blue AMD card.
Yeah, that's
because they're so red, and AMD, like, I associate blue, with Intel. I don't know.
I guess I should hate this color scheme because it's kind of like UCLA, and UCLA is terrible. It's a terrible place.
Yeah, where's your USC pride?
Where no one should ever go or visit.
You traitor. Horrible school.
But
Horrible.
Anyway, there it is. So the Frontier Edition is the first graphics card based on Vega architecture, which of course people have been talking about for months, and we've been talking about, and everyone's excited about, and super. But then they were like, "Hey, here's the Frontier Edition. How could we give you guys a reveal that is more slightly disappointing than this?" Basically, an underclocked card designed for data scientists, immersion engineers, and product designers rather than gamers.
Boo.
Which, granted, there's a small portion of the population who's like, sweet, I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
And then there's all these gamers who have been waiting for this who are like,
seriously.
So, of course, some of the first questions asked by Raja Kaduri at this Reddit, it was a Reddit AMA that he did, was, when do we get the gaming version of this? So,
it's what anyone
it's still coming. About. They said there's more about the Vega version, the Vega for Gamers graphics card, which will be revealed at Computex this next week. So again, more reasons for you guys to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you find out all the information.
Hey, someone suggested maybe we do a gold PC, another follow-up gold.
Oh
PC
yeah,
with
do
this.
a new gold build.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Gold build would be sweet with
the
one
gold
of those.
build was a classic.
Yes,
I still thoroughly enjoy that video.
Yeah. It's probably worth a lot now.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that was a giveaway system. I wonder
Yeah.
I wonder if whoever won that still has that.
I hope they've upgraded since then, but
yeah,
it'd be cool.
So Vega will not be on store shelves the week of Computex. Just to point this out, although AMD is doing a press event on May 31st at 10 a.m. Taipei time, which apparently I haven't been invited to yet. I need to hit them up about that. Were you invited to that?
To what?
This press event they're doing at May 31st at 10 a.m. That's
Probably
That's Tuesday.
I haven't checked.
Actually, I probably can't go to it because I've got other stuff. Doesn't matter. I'll still visit AMD at Computex and do that stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so they are doing a press event, which typically they've been live streaming recently, so you guys might be able to catch it from over here in the States. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on May 31st. I'm sorry, it would be May 30th over here. Yeah, it'll be May 30th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
So Monday nights, you guys go check out, and AMD's going to be doing live stream where they might talk more stuff about Vega. Won't be on store shelves the week of Computex by any means, but they did show the Vega Frontier Edition running Sniper Elite 4 at between 60 and 70 frames per second at 4K. Raja stressed that they're really trying to hit that 4K 60 frames per second barrier with Vega, with modern titles.
I'd hope so.
He also confirmed that the 16 gig Frontier Edition is going to have 2 stacks of HBM2 memory with 8 gigs each, rather than 4 gig stacks of HBM2 memory. So that's a thing too. He was questioned about potential yield issues with HBM2 because that was something that held back the launch of the Fiji cards. They were very difficult to find for quite a while. He downplayed that, but who knows what's actually going to happen. Anyway, all things said, they've still promised a Q2 release of Vega, so that gives them the entire month of June to launch something. Okay.
Cool. Is Sniper Elite 4 a very taxing game? Do you know?
There's a benchmark that's part of it. Yeah, I mean I forget what engine it's based on, but it's based on one of the high-end engines.
Be interesting to see like what.
It'd be Unreal, but I could totally be wrong about that. I'm pulling that out of my ass.
Be interesting to see like what a GTX 1080 or a 1080 Ti does in that game at 4K.
Yeah.
And if it's between 60 or 70 frames per second, you could probably sort of estimate how powerful that Vega GPU is going to be.
Well, it's been a lot of the speculation about Vega is how powerful it's going to be when it actually launches. And there's been everything from saying it's going to rival the 1080 Ti to it's going to rival the 1070.
Yep.
And I could see
they have a pretty
wide
range of
that's a pretty
Vega
wide
GPUs.
range, and I could see it landing anywhere in between there. So
Sure.
We're not going to know until there's cards out there in people's hands and independent reviews and all that stuff.
That's how it goes.
All right, if you got a Samsung Galaxy S8 and you've got that iris feature that uses your eyes
to
unlock it, which is just the height of security and keeping your phone secure and everything, it's already been hacked. So don't trust it. All you need apparently is a laser printer. Ironically, Samsung laser printers seems to work very well. Laser printer, you need a picture of the person's eye that's of relatively reasonable resolution. Why is this so loud, man? That's loud.
That's pretty loud.
Where's my...
You just need one eye?
Yeah. Well, you need one eye at least. But granted, that's also easily attainable for most people who post pictures on social media. And then you need a contact lens, and you put the contact lens over the printed picture, and then you can fool the iris scanner into letting you into unlocking the phone.
You put an actual contact lens over the paper?
I believe that's what he does. Yes.
Just to make it like the curvature more.
Yeah, it's
magnify.
So it looks.
Sort of,
yeah.
It looks more spherical.
There he goes. Yeah. It's to make it look like a real eye with the proper reflection and all that stuff.
How figure this out?
So I was just holding a piece of paper up, hey, and the phone's unlocked.
Wow.
Cool.
Okay, but I mean,
so anyway,
I get it, but who's gonna do that?
Who's gonna do that?
Who's gonna I mean, is it that easy for someone to get that clear and that close of a picture of your eye?
People post selfies of their face all the time.
I guess you're right.
Everywhere.
Did it say how detailed the photo has to be? Because if they were using like a 5D Mark II from 2 inches away, that's different than a selfie that you take, post on Facebook with compression and shit. But if that is the case, then that's pretty much a design flaw.
Here's the picture he took.
Okay.
With not a very nice camera.
Yeah.
Okay, he zooms in up to there. A photo from medium distance is sufficient.
Okay. Well then,
All
there
right.
you go. Then that's pretty easy to do.
Cool.
You can just pull that off of anyone's
He zoomed it in.
platform.
He zoomed it in with some editing software. It looks like he's using GIMP or something like that.
Yeah.
Printed it out with a laser printer, so it needs to be a printer with that can handle reasonable resolution.
Good lord, no one should use this.
And then he unlocks it. All right, so.
Yep, I'm convinced.
Just to point, I mean, this is an emerging market of biometric security with portable devices, which is on the one hand a very useful thing. I mean, I use fingerprint unlocking for my phone all the time,
right.
And I always think like, well, that's either a very difficult thing to break, or the easiest thing in the world to break if I've just been knocked out by a mugger and I'm lying there unconscious on the streets.
Right.
And they can just take my finger and put it up in there and unlock my phone or something like that.
Got the RFID implant that Kane got at Land Syndicate last year.
You're right. I mean, that is the next step in this kind of thing.
Put it
that
in
would
your
be
body.
much more difficult to defeat or something like that.
But you know, the next time we see Kane, he's gonna have like his arm chopped off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, some guy really
Just
wanted
cut the arm off.
He wanted to get in my apartment.
That's all you need. All right. So there it is. Don't trust the
fake news.
Don't trust the iris unlocker.
It's all lies.
All right, I've been trying to keep up with this at least once a week when we talk about this net neutrality. It's under attack. I'm gonna go over this really quickly because I don't want to hammer on it too much. But if you're not already aware, comments are currently open. So net neutrality rules have been challenged. These are the net neutrality rules that were put in place back in 2015. They've been in place for a year and a half or so. And if you ask most people, they're doing just fine, keeping all the packets going to and fro across the internet neutral, so they can't be handled or mishandled by an internet service provider. They can't be blocked or throttled or slowed down or anything like that. Ajit Pai and the current FCC want to roll that back to give internet service providers, whether it's wired service or wireless service, more leeway in controlling the data that comes to and from you. Most people, like the vast majority of people, think this is a bad idea. We're okay with the internet just being neutral. Wherever you go, whatever website you go to, get the data, and that's where it comes back to. However, unsurprisingly, they voted on the initial notice of proposed rulemaking, which was rolled out 2-3 weeks ago, and they voted along party lines 2-1, and they have voted to take this to the next phase, which is that they have crystallized the rules, and they are now accepting further commentary, though. So what everyone needs to do is go to the FCC's website, post a comment how you do not think that rolling back Title II control over ISPs is a good idea, how you feel all data packets should be treated equally, and that you do not agree with this action. Granted, they might ignore you and go ahead and do whatever the hell they want to anyway. However, it's important that people speak out right now so that at least when they ignore everyone, we can say, hey, this isn't what we wanted you to do. And beyond that, it will be more down to going to the voting booth and that kind of thing. However, for the time being, thanks to John Oliver and the folks over at Last Week Tonight, you can go to gofccyourself.com, gofccyourself.com, and it will take you directly to the page on the FCC website where you can submit a new filing, and you can go in there, enter and upload a text file of your statement. Bear in mind that when you make this post, it is publicly viewable by anyone on the internet, so keep that in mind. However, that's important because there have been a ton of apparently erroneous filings made that all have the same statement in them and everything like that. This is something that I was going to delve into a little bit further, but suffice to say that there's people who are using technology to try to subvert this process, but the more actual people there are commenting with unique comments, the better of a situation we're going to be in. And screw anyone who's trying to subvert this process by using bots or anything like that.
So they're using bots for negative to position themselves against it, basically.
Yes, they're using bots to submit comments with the names and addresses of real people. So that let's see if I can actually do this or not. Hold on. What was it called?
So no one's making bots in favor of net neutrality?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
These are all evil bots?
I can't say that for sure or not. CastroTurf, that's what it is. CastroTurf. So there's lots of accusations going on right now about potentially the internet service providers doing shady things to try to make it look like there's more comments in support of rolling back Title II. Mm-hmm. But if you are not sure, if you have not commented, but you think someone... basically, a lot of comments have been made in people's names with using their names and addresses taken from some separate unknown database and posted in their names. So if you go to comcastroturf.com, www.comcastroturf.com, you can punch in your name and see if your name has been used in an FCC submission on this.
Whoa, fancy that.
It'll browse that database and tell you. So that's a good way to figure out if you haven't made a comment. Well, has someone made a comment on my behalf using my information?
Possibly.
That's kind of lame. And those comments that have been submitted are all using the same exact text that were basically say Obama sucks and a few other things like that.
That's how you can weed them out.
Blah blah. Well, because they're all using the same exact text, and there's been tons of them submitted. Anyway, again, I didn't do enough research on that to delve into it too much, and I did not want to dwell on this topic too long because I've been trying to bring it up on every episode just to remind you guys. I really encourage you to go over there and post comments.
Yeah.
Because it's important keeping the internet neutral, keeping the internet open for everyone to access, for new businesses that start up with new websites to not be blocked by an ISP who has a competing service that they want to provide to you versus that other competing service that they want to shut down.
Yeah.
It's a very, very...
So what's the next step now for the FCC? Like to get
this commentary period is open for a couple months now.
Okay.
So it's going to be, I think, I'm sorry, I don't know the date, but I believe it's 2-3 months that this next stage is open for people to continue to submit more comments.
Right.
And then after that, they vote on it again, and that's the final vote, and then they'll initiate whatever rules they decide on based on that. And again, most people are expecting they're going to ignore most of the comments, or they're going to take a bunch of these bot-submitted comments and be like, oh, well, look at all these comments that say the same thing that were clearly submitted by bots, but we don't care about that.
Yep.
And try to go the other way with it no matter what. And again, at that point, it's just a matter of like, well, how can you get those people out of the FCC? And at that point, it's a matter of how can you get the people who choose the people who are going into the FCC out?
Yeah. And
we'll not go that far because that's a bit too deep into politics, and we try to only touch on the elements of politics that more directly affect the stuff we talk about, which is technology. Yeah. Although, of course, there's plenty to talk about with politics, but let's not get too far off track.
Indeed.
Let's move back to, let's move into a new segment, Hot and Heavy Hardware. Where's my lower thirds?
Something we're all familiar with, and it's not plagued with evil, deception and lies,
confusedness and that kind of thing.
Indeed.
Okay, Hot and Heavy Hardware. We're going to start off talking about a new NVIDIA graphics card that launched this week.
GT 1030.
Actually, a week ago, the GT 1030 quietly launched. Didn't see too much about this. A few sites got some samples from some third-party vendors and stuff, but the GT1030 is a low-cost alternative to integrated graphics. This is the NVIDIA reference design for it. You can see it's a very small single-slot card. It's only got 2 DVI outs, very low-profile cooler, so it's not going to generate too much heat. It's got 2 gigs of GDDR5 memory, 64-bit bus, 384 CUDA cores, so you're not talking about a heavy hitter here by any means. However, it does run at a decent clock speed, 1468, supports resolutions of up to 7680 by 4320 at 60 hertz. Connectivity varies, but you'll probably have any variant of DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.0, or dual-link DVI. Probably 2 outputs and a variant of those depending on how much licensing your video card manufacturer wanted to pay for, since HDMI costs more money. It's going to be an inexpensive upgrade over integrated graphics, according to them. EVGA has a few different SKUs that are out that the article talks about. And actually, if you go over onto Newegg, you can actually shop for these right now. So I thought we would just do that. Let's look at what's available on Newegg.
$70.
Yeah, so these are all in the like $70 to $75 range. And given that they're going to be low profile, like a lot of these cards are low profile options.
Nice upgrade for pre-builds.
And low power. Yeah, a pre-built upgrade or a solution for something that you just need a video out for, that you might need some level of graphics performance. So if you're going to be playing back, 4K video or something like that, potentially an option for you. But yeah, super cheap. And I'm sure there's going to be people who take these and pit them against integrated graphics and that kind of thing. But nice to know that they're super small. MSI apparently has a more full-size one that's not low profile. And then MSI also has this one here, which is completely passively cooled. Check that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ultra low noise.
So
Zero noise.
Anytime you can have completely passive cooling, that ups my interest over something like this. Of course, there's going to be more limited use cases when it comes to strict gaming implementations. But again, budget options, they're out there for you.
Sweet.
All right. Let's move on to this article on the Tech Report. FSP, Fortran Source Power. Something like that. Whatever they're...
Fist.
Yeah, I tweeted about this a couple days ago. They have announced a new power supply which has a water cooling option.
Why?
Check it out.
Who needs this?
The PTM Plus liquid-cooled power supply.
Who needs a water-cooled power supply, honestly?
Well, I made a joke about overclocking your power supply, which I thought was mainly a joke, but you can actually deliver more wattage when you connect it to an open-loop cooling system.
Why?
I believe these looks like a Bits Power. Is that a Bits Power logo?
It looks like it.
It might be a solution by Bits Power down there.
Why not just get a power supply that is rated at the wattage you need instead of overclocking it?
I don't know.
Like, you can't do that as easily with CPUs as you can with...
Like, this seems primarily to fit a niche of, like, that system build where it's like, I went crazy overkill with water cooling, and be like, well, you didn't water cool the memory and the SSD and the power supply. And it'd be like, well, my next build, I'm going to do all that stuff. And here's the power supply. Like, there's like 5 people that are going to build a system where they water cool everything.
Then they should only make five of these units.
And this is the power supply they will use.
They should only have 5. They should be labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. So FSP, I mean, for the record, I mean, they're a solid OEM of power supplies. They make lots of very, very nice units. Who knows how much faith you need to have in your water cooling abilities to run a liquid-cooled solution through your primary 1200 watt unit. It's very niche, I guess. It's very.
I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, has overheating power supplies ever been an issue?
No.
Ever.
Power supplies typically use very high-end...
Ever. Why?
Very, very high-end components that... Oh, it is Bits Power. Okay, confirm that. This is the FSP actual website for the Hydro PTM Plus.
And I just don't like the fact that you're putting water even closer to the power source.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we just have a water-cooled AC outlet?
Did I mention
that sounds smart.
Did I mention it has RGB LEDs?
Okay, well that makes everything okay.
All right.
But if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for the RGB LEDs, I mean, one little tiny leak out of that little connector there, that little hub with the inlet and outlet, any little leak that gets into any of those ports, you're done. You're totally done.
I'm also curious, like, there's some pictures here of, like, some CAD designs of the block and stuff like that, and this appears to be the block unit. Like, I'm very curious what in the power supply it actually makes contact with and cools.
Right. I'd like to see the actual water block.
Because most power supplies you look at, like, there's big ass capacitors and various other things like that in there. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Hopefully, maybe
just absolutely nothing.
Maybe at Computex they'll have like
just a
an opened up version of this that you can look at or something like that.
Just a pass through, doesn't do anything.
Just a pass through. It's just like loops it straight back out. Completely aesthetic, non-functional.
Yeah.
All right. EK. Here's some real liquid cooling from EK. A new gaming series kit. So EK has several kits for liquid cooling that they sell that you can buy. The existing kits are, what are they called? Slim, Liquid, and Performance. They have Slim, Liquid, Performance, and Extreme series. This is the gaming series because you can't use any of those other kits for gaming. This is the only one you can use for gaming. That's not true. I was trying to say something that was obviously false.
Lies. Full of lies, Paul.
All right. So they have the 240, 280, and 360. They're all named after the radiator size and fans that they're included. And the difference here is that these are all coming with dual 5¼ inch bay pump reservoir mounts.
How many cases actually have a dual 5¼ inch bay these days?
There's a decent number. There are. I wanted to say that one.
There are, but there
that one does.
are also
not. The Be Quiet Dark Base 900 I just built.
There are, but there are also not. They're becoming increasingly unpopular.
It's kind of the hip thing for manufacturers to just be like, no one uses optical drives anymore. Screw that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cases that still do have them.
At least a dual, yeah, sure.
And it is a very viable place to mount a pump and reservoir because you can have that on the front and you can easily look and see your liquid levels and that kind of thing.
That's fun.
Anyway, so the gaming series kit is available, I believe now, or it might be available soon. Again, 3 different sizes. It comes with EK Vardar fans. And again, that bay unit there up at the front.
Bay.
I believe that's a DDC. No, wait, hold on.
Did it?
It's a Xylem D5 PWM water pump.
Ooh.
That's included there.
It's fancy.
Okay. And of course, EK fittings. Oh, and look, they include some clear concentrate to add into the liquid so that when you're filling your loop, you can make sure to put some killer in there to make sure you get no bacteria growing. All right.
Cool.
So those should be available now or soon. Awesome. Next up, Cryorig. We talked a bit on Kyle's half of the show about some new Cryorig products. They're also coming out with this Cryorig H7, which has been a very popular cooler. The Quad Lumi RGB cooler version of this, which includes RGB LEDs. They've also reconfigured the pipe configuration on it to allow for 20 watt higher TDP cooling. As far as the classification.
Mm-hmm.
And then apparently also improved performance over standard H7 of 15%. I don't know if that means cooling or what. Also added support for LGA 2011 V3, which the original Cryorig H7 did not have, which is kind of nice. You had to upgrade to one of their higher-end models that costs like $50 for that. Mm-hmm. So that's cool too. And then you have both an underglow LED as well as the Cryorig logo on top that lights up with RGBs.
Here's a question. Does it come with Ryzen support out of the box, or do you still need to get the the bracket?
I am not sure about that. I have to imagine that they would include it in the box since this is a newly shipping product.
Came out after Ryzen.
And AM4 is already out there.
Right.
That would be the only thing that makes sense. But they do have an AM4 bracket for the H7, so I would imagine if this doesn't ship with it in the box, that yes, you can still get it by contacting Cryorig.
Right.
6mm heat pipes, and then of course NZXT's CAM software can be used to control the RGB LEDs, which is really nice because often when you get an RGB LED thing, if you're really into the RGB LEDs, not everyone's into it. That's fine if you're not. But if you do get it, often the software that's supplied to control it is just lame or just has a very limited number of options available to it.
Sure.
Whereas NZXT's CAM is pretty mature at this point since they've been developing it for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all for hot and heavy hardware.
Sweet.
Let's move over to SWORDFIGHT, where Kyle and I argue about a contentious topic for you guys.
Woo!
And you guys can all vote as well.
Contentiousism.
Yes, so arguments. That's what
word.
we're all about right now.
That's a word.
So I'm going to post this into chat on YouTube
Do it.
and over on Twitch
Do it.
so we can argue. But check this out. PayPal is mad at Pandora because of their logo for their app. So yes, right here you can see
How could they?
Pandora on the left,
Yep.
PayPal on the right.
Whoa. They're both P's.
Yeah, they're both P's.
How?
Now the Pandora logo here is new. They have they sort of did a bit of a rebranding, a redesign. They redesigned some of their logos and stuff like that. But PayPal was like, hey, that's too similar.
Yeah.
It's confusing, and
Right.
it is
Huh.
people are gonna click on your app instead of ours.
Does look pretty similar.
So
Very
yeah,
similar.
basically they're having a trademark law battle right now, and we're going to save them a bunch of money in lawyer fees and decide this battle right here and right now.
Yep.
So who should win this dispute? What do you guys think? Is PayPal on the right because they were there first with their logo with a P on it? Or is Pandora in the right because it's just a P, man, and you can't just make a P and then be like, that's my P and no one else can use P anymore? What do you think, Kyle?
I think you know what, Paul? Anyone can use P. No one owns P.
Okay.
You know, everyone has to pee to some degree. And that rhymes, so it must be true. But when it comes to the type of pee, or the characterization of the pee,
Consistency of the P.
consistency of the pee, flow of the pee, it should be a unique pee to you. So if someone is copying someone else's pee,
That's my rap name, by the way.
the thing is like, yeah, pee flow,
P-Flow.
right? So pee flow. You know, if that was your logo, P Flow. If you had the PayPal logo, your P Flow, and then like Papa Playa came out with a track and a new logo with that P, which was the Pandora logo, you'd be like, people are gonna think that he is P Flow. He's gonna get confused. The thing is, you can have multiple P's. They just need to be different P's. And while Pandora's P logo is slightly different, it's also similar in more ways than one. I mean, any person over the age of 45 would probably get confused, like on their mobile phone. And it's very ageist of me to say, but I could easily see like my parents like looking at their phone and seeing like the new Pandora app logo on their phone and being like, "Oh, it's PayPal," and just click it. Like, we might catch on a little bit sooner. Even I might get confused, you know, in a drunken stupor. Like I often do, and be like, it's PayPal, and like, why is PayPal playing music now? Like, what the fuck's going on? So, I mean, I think PayPal has at least a fighting chance to win this argument, and I think it's fair of them to defend their current logo, because logos aren't cheap. There's a lot of thought process. I remember when I was choosing a logo for Bitwit, it cost me some money to find a designer who would, you know, kind of create a logo that made sense and didn't really look like anything else. You know, it's tough. There's a lot of logos out there already in existence. So it's hard to find something original. When you do, you want to protect that investment because you spend a lot of time, money, and research developing that logo. People don't realize how much work and energy goes into making a logo. And so when another big company like Pandora comes along and just kind of slaps on some random logo that looks very similar to yours, that could cause some sort of conflict or confusion among your viewers. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who both use Pandora and PayPal, right? Those two are they're very popular, they're very useful, they're extremely popular. So I could see why PayPal might create a stink about this. And I think it's perfectly valid because they're trying to protect their investment and their brand. So tell me why I'm wrong, Paul.
Yeah, let me explain.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Why everything you just said
dumb
was heinous
and,
lies
and you're completely
from the pit of hell.
You're biased.
All right.
Sponsored by PayPal. Sponsored by Pandora.
Now you probably have an expectation of what I'm going to argue about here, and that's P, right? There's P everywhere. There's too much P. They've taken the P, they've reused the P, and you can't just do that with P because you can't just own P. Like you can't, like, you can be like, that's my P, but it's really everybody's P. I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm not even going to talk about how everyone should have equal access to P. What I'm going to talk about is nuance. Subtlety and nuance. And that is what clearly the designers of the Pandora logo focused on as they designed this logo, not only to clearly represent their brand, but also to provide clear distinction between Pandora and PayPal. Let me demonstrate here. As you can see the logo side by side. First off, Pandora. Obviously there's a P in the center of a rounded square, as is typical of most app icons. Now, if you look at the PayPal logo here, the first thing you're going to notice is that it is literally the opposite. It is the opposite of Pandora. Because the Pandora, the center is blue, whereas there is white on the outside. PayPal, opposite. How can they be the same if they are opposite? You might also notice that PayPal has two P's, a clear distinction between the single P over on Pandora, and the addition of italicized font. Italicized font, universally recognized as calling something out as different, special, or unique, which makes it different, special, and unique when compared to the Pandora logo. I rest my case.
That's stupid. You're dumb. And no. PayPal's way superior company. Started by Elon Musk.
There's no rebuttal here. You got to go first.
Pandora sucks.
All right, cool. Well,
Elon Musk for the win.
We've given people plenty of time here, so let's see what you guys think.
It was a horrible argument.
Check out the results.
Horrible. One of your worst.
Oh, look at that! 40% for my new app, PayPal.
PayPal.
You didn't read the third option?
No. I never read the third option.
You should
it's
read
completely
this logo.
useless.
PayPal, actually, which is a new app with a similar logo,
just
sends me money.
We should all have an
I
app
need
like
some.
that.
This app is in development. We're going to be launching the beta version soon.
You should do that.
It's just you click on the.
People would just send you money because
how much money do you want to send Paul? Send him $5.
Yeah, you know what? You know what, Paul? Though, you know what? After your argument, what the fuck's your logo gonna look like?
That's true.
It's gonna look exactly the same.
But that's why I argued in favor of it not being infringement, is so my logo could also. You'd be like, I want to listen to Pandora, or send Paul money. I'll do that instead right now because that's what I click on instead.
They're gonna get confused and send it to PayPal instead.
So 35% of voters say PayPal had firsties, and therefore they were actually. I'm kind of surprised at that.
Huh.
I kind of would expect, but it's not too far off. But PayPal certainly seems to win here.
This is a little bit different than the Fine Bros trying to copyright and trademark the word React.
That's true.
That's a little different.
That is true.
Because that was just a verbal written word, whereas this is an actual image. This is a design. It's really a design that someone's created. So there's a difference there. I can see why it might sway in that favor.
All right. Guys, that straw poll will stay open, so if you're watching the re-upload of this on YouTube, you're still welcome to go down there and vote. You could change the future. You could change the future.
Heck yeah.
All right, that is all for my prepared commentary and stuff for my half of the show, which is awesome. We're going to quickly answer some questions that have been submitted with cash donations in chat, which Kyle has lined up. I just burped. It was
Wait.
kind of
I'm trying to find the beginning of the...
Yeah, where's your half end and my half begin?
Oh, wait. Here we go. Nathan... Wait.
Oh, Paul's half. Here we go.
Debanjan.
Debanjan!
200 rupees.
Debanjan Chowdhury again.
Woo!
Chowdhury, right?
Chowdhury.
Chowdhury. That's an awesome last name.
That's cool.
Chowdhury.
Sounds like
it
chowder
makes me want chowder.
And curry at the same time.
Chowder.
And curry.
Like some New England clam chowder.
Chowdery. Or like hurry.
It's awesome.
I need some chowder.
Exactly. He's still up too.
Right now.
Debanjan, it's like 3 a.m. My last for today. Hope you still remember me from the previous half. We do. I hope someday you'll come to India and meet both of you. You guys will love our food, places, and people. 2:36 a.m.
Oh, I love Indian food already.
I admire your persistence staying up this late, and I do love Indian food.
It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
There's some good Indian places around here.
There's a couple around here that we'd love to go to.
Yep. We should get Indian food after this.
We might be able to do that.
Maybe.
To
I have to pack and stuff.
To see what Joe... Yeah, I still need to pack. That's important. Davey Chow! Davey Chow!
Davey Chow! Cannot stay
$10.
and watch because today is my last day of finals. After that, summer, I'll be able to live my dream and of flipping toilets and cleaning burgers. $5 hookers, my treat for you both. Phoebe, you are mature beyond your age.
I know.
It's
very
just
responsible.
light years ahead of your age. Well, thank you very much. Good luck on finals. Hope you ace it. And look out for those hookers.
And you're going to look back in fondness when you're older on those summer jobs that you used to do when you were younger. because it's kind of nostalgic. Even though you don't make tons of money, I don't know.
I look back and I'm like, thank God I don't do that anymore.
Well,
that was horrible.
Now that all the work is done.
Well,
but
yeah.
I mean, okay.
I
think for me it's because they were typically like lower responsibility jobs. It's like, what happens if I screw up and don't come to work? It's like nothing.
Nothing at all.
Like practically nothing will happen.
We get another version.
So that's kind of cool.
Yep.
All right, Andre Reis or
€5.
Reis.
Hi from Lisbon, Portugal. Keep up the great job. What do you know
Nice.
about my country?
I know that your language is Portuguese.
I know that you have a great band that comes from your country called Portugal the Man.
Oh, cool. There you go.
I don't think they're from Portugal though. I think they're from like California.
I know that I always feel like
States.
Portugal's being crowded out by Spain because like Portugal's right on the edge there, and Spain's like, hey, give us some more room. And Portugal's like, we're just on some coast right here.
Yeah.
Right? Is that maybe?
That's true.
I don't know.
And you guys got some brutal foreign import taxes too.
I know.
I remember sending an SSD to Portugal once. It was like $75 or something like that. It was crazy.
I know from watching Anthony Bourdain that Portugal has a delicious and unique cuisine, which is similar yet distinct from Spanish cuisine.
Beef testicle.
Especially in some of the places Portugal has colonized. All right, I probably know more stuff about Portugal, but it'll take colon. James catch
for the €5. What do you think will be better, Threadripper or Intel i9?
That's difficult
Hard
to
say, man. We don't know anything. We don't know anything at this point.
It's really hard to say.
I hope they're both equally good.
If it continues the trend going right now, AMD will offer a solution with a higher core and thread count for less money that will offer more raw performance. But Intel will have a better instructions per clock when it comes to per core and how it's doing.
Yeah.
Which means that they would kind of go back and forth on the benchmarks depending on the software and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, there's tons of question marks out there, but it's all going to be high-end stuff. So it's both exciting, but also not quite as practical for people who are buying like budget $600-700 systems.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect those people too much.
Right.
But still. Exciting for lots of people.
What Paul's saying is you probably don't have enough money to even buy either one.
I'm trying to say
He's calling you poor.
It's a more niche
poor
market
bastard
than the people who are building gaming PCs because but there's a huge push in into content creation, video editing, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of demand for both of them.
Yeah.
And hopefully there'll be different reasons to say use this versus use this depending on your situation.
I feel like the cheaper one will be better.
Yeah.
Quentin Mosley,
$50.
Wow,
Thank $50.
Keep on living the dreams. # beer fund. # gaming fuel.
Cheers. Cheers to you, Quentin.
Cheers.
Yeah.
$50 tastes delicious, doesn't it, Paul?
Luke Lefrederier. No, Luke F.
Linus has said he will do a D-Wave vid. Any chance one of you can get a HRL of Quail Tour? Please, not Luke Lefebvre. Got tired of Cal asking. Wait, what is HLR of what?
D-Wave?
HRL?
I don't know what this is talking about.
D-Wave vid.
What is D? I mean, is this something I should be aware of, but I'm not?
D-Wave.
D-Wave.
D-Wave systems.
D-Wave.
Quantum computing.
Oh, quantum computing. Okay.
All right.
I do not have any connection with D-Wave.
Neither do I.
And practical application for a quantum computer would be way out of my like either of our ranges for what we typically talk about.
Yeah.
That said, I'd be very excited to check it out.
Sure.
And investigate into it more and see what it's capable of and that kind of thing.
But the fact that I don't even know what an HRL Quail Tour is probably indicates that I'm probably not close to taking one. Not that I'm opposed to one.
You haven't been following the quantum computing landscape quite as closely as you could be.
More or less.
But yeah, fascinating, but not something I am currently directly have access to. I guess would be how I'd respond to
that. Bob Ross. Holy crap, Bob Ross. Yeah. The one and only Bob Ross.
The actual Bob Ross, $10.
$10 a knuckle ripper for people that build them.
Instead of Threadripper?
Ah.
Knuckle ripper.
Yeah.
I like it. Depends on the case you choose, I suppose.
Indeed.
Coda!
$5. Hey, Paul, do you have any other Spyderco knives other than the Tenacious that you use on camera? They're easily one of my favorite brands.
Where'd my Tenacious go? It's over there. I don't. It's my only one.
Spyderco.
But where did it go?
I still use a crappy, just cheapy razor blade that I got. Or my scissors. it's very mediocre. It's incredibly mediocre. Alex B, $2. Upgrade from a 4770K and GTX 980 to a 1600 and 1070 for 1440p. I would say you're good on the CPU, man. Don't change the 4770K. If you wanted to, you could upgrade your GTX 970 to a 1070 if you were going from 1080p to 1440p, because you will be getting quite a bit more frames with the 1070. You can sell your GTX 970 for a decent amount, maybe $150 or something like that, and put that towards a 1070, which are fairly reasonably priced these days. You can get one with a pretty decent aftermarket cooler on it for around $300 to $350 and see a whopping performance. I would not upgrade to the 1600 Ryzen from the 4770K unless you're thinking about doing some more heavily threaded tasks like video editing. If you're doing some rendering, or if you're doing live streaming heavily, then it could be a decent upgrade. But other than that, like the 4 cores, 8 threads will be working just fine on that core.
Depending on your situation, in some configurations and at some resolutions, you will get less performance out of that 1070 with the 1600 than you would out of the 4770K.
Yeah.
Especially if you're overclocking your 4770K.
Absolutely.
So I'd say stick with the like Kyle said, stick with the 4770K and grab that 1070.
Yep.
That'd be a good option.
Peyton Hens Nelson, $10. Love both your channels. Have built multiple builds with your help. That's really awesome to hear. As always, I would like to use Ryzen with Linux and VM Windows for gaming. Have you guys had any interest in doing something like this? I've honestly never worked with virtual machines. That's something that is still sort of foreign to me. I get the gist of it, but I have not yet had a need to do it, which is probably why I haven't delved into it at this point. But I'd be curious to learn more about it, though.
Yeah. Peyton, if you're not already familiar with them,
Level 1 Techs?
Level 1 Techs is where you would definitely want to go, because that is where I've seen the most investigation into Ryzen performance with Linux, IOMMU configurations that function with Linux to pass through, I believe that's pass through the GPU so you can get proper GPU support with Linux. Sorry if I'm wrong about that, but yeah, go subscribe to Level 1 Techs. Message Wendell on Twitter, and he's super enthused about that kind of stuff. And I will say I am curious about that, but like Kyle, I have not delved into it that much myself.
Indeed.
PlanetVampire.com. Sorry, I'm burping. $5 donation. I am upgrading my 2600K build, which has a dying motherboard. Should I get a 7700K rig now, or wait, hoping for a Coffee Lake higher core count for 4K gaming only? Definitely wait for right now, because in the next week we're gonna have, it seems like, new Intel stuff coming out, and even though that's high-end desktop stuff that they're talking about,
it might be something.
It's really the stuff they've been talking about coming out with on X299 is varied in many ways.
Like KB Lake X, for example.
Yeah, it's all rumors. We don't have the confirmed details for now, but you should have a much better idea once Computex comes out of what's there.
Yeah. So
I would say there might be more options that you might consider versus a 7700K. So it's definitely worth waiting for that at least.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't think there's too many platforms coming out. So after Computex, you should hopefully have a good idea of the current landscape and what you can choose.
Yeah, Charitum Tech for $10. Hey guys, would it be worth it to trade in my Nitro Fury in for an RX 580 for the VRAM upgrade, or would that be a lateral move performance-wise? Keep up the great content. Love both channels. A Nitro Fury, I'm thinking, that's probably like, okay, the Fury for an RX 580. It would be an upgrade for sure, especially on the VRAM side, I would think.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, because it's what, HBM versus the
Well, you're talking about
8 gigs.
Fury's supposed to still perform better. I don't even know. I have not directly compared both of these cards myself.
I don't know. I feel like the RX 580 might overtake it. I could be wrong. You're right. I haven't tested it myself. VRAM, you got, what, 4 gigs of HBM versus 8 gigs of GDDR5. I don't know. I'd prefer the capacity at this point over HBM.
It's like, without having tested both of them directly against each other myself, and there's probably people who have done that, and I would recommend doing some Google searches to people who have directly compared a Fury to an RX 580. I feel like it would be more of a lateral move.
Yeah.
But That's my feeling again, and I would highly recommend looking at people who have directly compared the two of those to get a better idea.
I feel like for people within that performance level of like sort of the Nitro Fury R9 Nano, the only card I would really suggest them upgrade would be a GTX 1070 or higher.
Quite a few people in chat are saying the Fury is definitely faster than a 580.
Oh, okay.
So,
right.
That's the impression I had too. Yeah, Fury should be faster than a 580. Thanks to all you guys in chat who have pointed that out, and pointed it out tactfully too. No one was like noobs before Furies.
You dicks! Obviously, it's common knowledge.
Even though that would have been totally warranted.
I was born with this knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. So lateral move, if not a downgrade. So stick with your Fury.
Okay. Cool.
I think shared him. Nathan Thatch, thanks again for your donation on both halves of the show. Thanks for the last video you uploaded. Gave me the best idea to mount my daughter's Nock to a D15 vertically so it can fit my S340. You da bomb. Nathan, if you're the same person who tweeted to me this thing, I say again to you, I am glad that was able to help you out. I know that's a niche situation, and I'm also still absolutely amazed that a D15 fits in an S340, which is a relatively smaller case.
I'm not too surprised.
That's that case right there.
It's very small, but I feel like it's got enough clearance vertically, or I guess horizontal.
Yeah, it's the horizontal clearance, but yeah. Alex Bevan, $2 donation. Thank you so much. Love your vids. Can you make an old 775 PC? Alex...
If I had a motherboard.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I have a couple LGA 775 motherboards.
I do not.
I would need... the first part of me says, like, no, I wouldn't do that. But then the second part of me says, I've seen the random gaming in HD videos, because his videos keep popping up on my feeds, and all he does is post about, like, hey, I found this old piece of crap for $2. And I'm like, maybe I should find old pieces of crap for $2 and make videos out of them. That could be interesting.
And they do pretty well. I mean,
they do very well
for his subscribers.
He's also very consistent, so
yeah.
I mean, his videos are good. He does a good job covering stuff. He's very concise and all that stuff. So,
yeah, I like his stuff too.
But seeing stuff like that makes me consider other possibilities for what I might cover. So I don't want to rule out something like 775. I don't have any immediate plans to do that, though. So.
I just got an HP Pavilion A00 from my aunt and uncle.
Oh God.
Who have had it in their family for 12 years or so, and they dropped it off at my house.
2005.
Yeah, something like that. So I might be doing a video on that soon.
Okay.
It's pretty hairy.
It could be interesting.
I popped the side panel off after I got back from Hawaii. I was like, good God!
It's like never been cleaned before.
Yeah,
like,
no, never,
oh,
never. But those are the best kinds.
Yeah,
The biggest delta in terms of performance increase. Anyway. Luke Timmermans,
$5 Canadian.
$5 Californian.
$5 California dollars.
Should I upgrade? Go ahead.
Should I upgrade my power supply for my next PC build, or reuse my old T-Sonic and get cable mods? Surprisingly close in price. Luke, I'd say if you have a C-Sonic power supply, keep using your C-Sonic power supply and get some extensions, because that's why you buy a nice power supply like a C-Sonic that's well built.
Exactly.
And don't go with a cut rate one, is because you can use the same power supply for 8. Like Kyle's mentioning of like a 12-year-old system. If you bought a high-end nice power supply 12 years ago,
it's still gonna be good.
It would probably still work just fine. Yeah. Granted, it might not have the efficiency ratings and all that kind of stuff, but for your purposes, I'd say stick with that C-Sonic.
Indeed.
Wait, Cell's adding stuff. Cell, what are you doing?
Burning Typhoon. $5. I've upgraded from 4790K to an R9 390X to a GTX 1080 Ti and a Ryzen 7 1800 with an NVMe that I only have Windows on. Should I transfer games to NVMe?
I would say yes, for within whatever capacity is able to be handled by your NVMe drive. All right, so if you got a 240 gig NVMe drive, put on one or two games that are the games that you play the most. And ideally not GTA 5 that takes up 80 or 90 gigs or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what you're looking at. What games do you play the most that you just want to load quickly? It's not going to affect the performance of the game as far as frames per second. It's just going to be like when you click that game and be like, get me into the game, it's going to be faster.
Yeah.
So I'd say yes, definitely make us, if you got a Steam or whatever, make a games folder on there. But also have one on your hard drive or whatever so you can take stuff, still install it, without filling up your NVMe SSD too much. If you get past about 80% full on your NVMe SSD, I'd start cutting stuff back. You don't want to get too much past that because that'll slow down its performance.
True.
Finally.
Then we have a missed question from my half from
yes.
Mike for $5. I have 6 3-pin fans that I had hooked into a SATA-powered hub. They screamed at 1500 RPM. Bought 3 splitters. I only have 2 CHA ports. Can I use CPU OPT? Yes, you can use CPU OPT for any other 4-pin fan that you have wanting to connect. That shouldn't be a problem. I mean, is that the only question here?
Yeah. So, Mike, yes, you can use that CPU. The CPU OPT is usually the secondary CPU fan, so it's going to run to the same RPM that the CPU fan runs at.
Is OPT optional?
It's optional, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can plug in there. I would also consider something like getting... you can usually run 3 or 4 fans off of a single fan hub. As long as they're not super high RPM fans or something like that. So, Silverstone, if you look up fan splitter Silverstone on Amazon, they have one for like $6, and it's 1 plug and it leads to 3 plugs on the other end, and they're all daisy chained, which is nice because you can plug in one here and then take the daisy chain and extend it out somewhere else to plug in something else. I would opt for that. Well, I don't know. If you just want to get it done, yeah, just plug in as a CPU optional fan. If not, consider something like a daisy chain that lets you plug in 3 fans per plug or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. That is all for my half of the show. That's all for
Johnson's.
Awesome Hardware. Oh, no, it's not. Damn it.
I only have 2.
Okay,
fortunately. Cool. Lawrence, thank you very much, sir. Johnson, to you for picking up a navy blue CPU cooler shirt.
I've only got 1. I thought I had... Oh, wait, no, I've got more than...
And then we've got a BioSponsor shirt from...
Lawrence gets a Double Johnson.
Emery, Double Johnson. Thank you very much, Emery.
Lawrence Double Johnson, he got a pub glass.
Yay.
Does Emery get a Double Johnson? Emery also gets a Double Johnson.
Woo!
He got the heavy metal gray t-shirt, the thumbscrew logo.
Yes.
It's a good one. And finally, a Johnson to John. Thank you so much, John from Virginia. Got the thumbscrew decal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 106. We are going to kick it off to a Twitch raid. Those of you who are on Twitch right now, we are going to go ahead and host Puget Systems.
Oh, yeah.
Puget Systems, they do some really great work. Their articles are fantastic.
Are they streaming right now?
We're going to host them. Go ahead. According to...
Friend of Jerry.
Friend of Jerry as well. Go ahead and tell them that Paul and I sent you. And give them lots of love. Give them lots of love and praise.
Glorious.
They do some good work over there. But
right.
that's going to do it for now, guys. Thank you so much. We love you.
Again, stay tuned. Tons of Computex coverage coming from both of us next week, so stay tuned for that. Thumbs up button on this video if you enjoyed it, of course, as always. And comments in the comment section. They're always great as well. And if any wonderful person wants to do timestamps for both of our halves of the video, we will love you forever.
I'll pin you.
I'll pin you,
bro.
We'll pin you. We'll pin the shit out of you.
Y'all get pinned.
All right.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Almost spilled my beer.
Jesus.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.